The battle for the best roguelike game is upon us. Do we devote our randomly generated death runs to the Binding of Isaac Rebirth with the amazing Afterbirth expansion, or do we jump ship to the new and exciting challenge that is Enter the Gungeon? For starters, you can't really go wrong with either game. They're both awesome, but there are a few things I can tell you that are flat out better in one than the other. I'm Deadite from Boomstick Gaming, and I'm going to help you decide. It's Isaac versus Gungeon. While both games function as twin-stick shooters, Enter the Gungeon has a slight edge over Isaac in this department. The ability to dodge and shoot in more directions really makes the gameplay immediately fun from the first floor of your run. Isaac starts very slow, and some runs you'll have builds that are a ton of fun, and then there are some where you'll get a certain item that just screws everything up. Enter the Gungeon's focus on fast, frenetic, twitch-based gameplay is flat out more rewarding than Isaac's. The Binding of Isaac has hundreds and hundreds of items that can be combined in almost infinite possibilities. Every run of Isaac is a delight to see what horrible monstrosity your character has become, and no run feels identical. Enter the Gungeon's variety hook comes from a few hundred unique guns and power-ups. These don't quite work together in the unique ways that Isaac's do, but the focus on a Borderlands-esque crazy gun looting mechanic makes it very fun and rewarding, but not quite to the heights of Isaac. The Binding of Isaac wins in this category with a sheer, unfathomable amount of depth in its synergies of its vast item catalog. Both of these games have procedurally generated dungeon layouts, but the individual rooms in each are all handcrafted to ensure the enemy layout is not too unfair. They both have unique rooms with traps, hazards, and secrets to find. Isaac does a vastly better job at the room-to-room secret finding, but Gungeon has a snappy map travel mechanic that makes dungeon traversal a breeze. Enter the Gungeon does have a slight lack in enemy variety, and you'll be seeing the same old bullet-type enemies through a lot of the game. Isaac, on the other hand, has a huge number of enemies with multiple modifiers that can be applied to each. Isaac has the best overall sheer amount of variety in its room layouts and enemies, which wins it in this category, but Gungeon comes in a very close second with its much faster dungeon progression system. Both games feature absolutely crazy designed bosses that will test your patience, memorization, and sheer gaming skills. Where Isaac has smaller roomed, more intimate fights, Gungeon has huge, room-filling, bullet-hell gauntlets of death. The design of the boss fights in Gungeon have more variety to the attack patterns and are flat-out more fun since they reward more skillful play instead of relying on the luck of your build to carry you through the battle. Although I love the boss designs in Isaac, I have to give this one to Enter the Gungeon for the fights just being flat-out more fun. Both games feature local co-op, but only one game pulls it off. In the Binding of Isaac, the second player is not a fully fledged character, but a little baby version who does less damage, can get no power-ups, and also takes away from your max health pool. It is poorly designed and comes across as anti-co-op because the other player only hinders your progression. Enter the Gungeon, on the other hand, does do a much better job. The second player is actually their own unique character, can have their own items, guns, and more. You have to decide with your partner who gets that cool gun or power-up that just popped out of that chest. This, along with the ability to come back as a ghost if you die to help your teammate by blocking bullets, really puts Enter the Gungeon as the leader of the co-op roguelike experience. Both of these games are very meaty experience that will take you 100 plus hours to feel like you actually beat them. Enter the Gungeon sets itself apart by having out-of-dungeon progression where you can unlock items and guns in the shop before heading down into the dungeon again. So each run, even if failed, usually still rewards in currency where you can unlock more things for your next run. The Binding of Isaac, on the other hand, has a huge plethora of cryptic secrets, endings, challenge modes, daily runs, leaderboards, and just a huge amount of content. If you are bored with the standard dungeon runs, go try some wacky challenge where you only use bombs, or try a whole other game mode, Greed Mode. I have always considered the Binding of Isaac to be my ultimate desert island game because I cannot think of any other game in existence where this many modifiers and content ensure that you have a vastly different experience every time you play. So as you can tell, both games are great with their positives and negatives, so I'm going to propose you an ultimatum to help you decide which is the better purchase. Do you desire snappy gameplay, speed, skill, instant gratification, and happen to have an affinity to bullet hell games? Well, Enter the Gungeon is the solution for you. Do you favor a more methodical game with variety, secrets, a larger focus on chance, and have no problem with looking things up on wiki pages to find out what they do? well then the Binding of Isaac Rebirth is for you. Again, this is Deadite, and I enjoy both games for very different reasons, but hopefully this synopsis helped at least one person out there decide which randomized death gauntlet to sink their time into. Thank you for watching Boomstick Gaming.